Oh, all right, you can start when you're ready.
Okay. I like it here. Even though every night I still see my city, my mom, and my two best friends in my dreams. I so miss them. Sometimes I want to cry, but I'm afraid that the kids will hear me sob. What helps me is thinking about my future. Also, now when I know some Russian women here, I can talk and they will understand me and give me advices. I am glad that I am not completely alone here in this small town. I hate it here. It's cold and boring. This dumb small town that we moved to for my dad's job, our house is only 2 stories. My friends are an entire hour away, and I can only get reception enough to talk to them for like 3 hours. These are 2 very different examples of a similar situation. Within only the span of a few years, appreciation for what we have has become lost in the swirling wind of I want, I need, and I don't have. This terrible spiral of misconception that we are so unlucky is what leads to the devastating mindset of ingratitude. Today, I will lay out this problem and confirm the realistic and abysmal effects of such thinking, and thus lead us through the steps towards the attitude of gratitude. Ingratitude. According to Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, it means forgetfulness of or poor return for kindness received. When I hear this definition, the first thing to enter my mind is an old Bible tale of the 10 lepers. According to the Bible, 10 lepers are healed by Jesus. He tells them to go to the priests in the city, and only a few steps into their journey, the 10 look down to find that they are cleansed of the disease. Caught up in their own rejoicing, all but one continues on without looking back on the man that brought such joy to pass. One leper, remembering, turns and praises him for their newfound health. Perplexed, Jesus questions the one. Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? 1 in 10. This, I believe, presents a stunningly accurate percentage of gratitude in our day and age. So, gratitude. Again, according to Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, this means the quality of being conscious of a benefit received. Let me rephrase this. Conscious of a benefit received. Conscious? Are we unconscious if we do not see the benefit we receive? We must be truly blind if we can only see what we do not have, and must be knocked unconscious to realize what we do. The best example of, per se, being knocked unconscious is the moral tale of The Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain. The prince lives a grand and luxurious life, bountiful meals 3 times a day, a king-size bed to sleep in, and a fire to read by, the vast expanse of books available to him. One day in the streets, he meets his very own doppelganger, a pauper. In the spur of the moment, the boys have a genius plan and decide to switch clothes. However, by trading clothes, they in turn trade lives. The boy from the streets being swept up into a royal and luxurious life, and the other, the prince, is dragged down into the rough palace life slums. Quickly, the haughty prince learns that those roast platters with side dishes of broccoli and tarts were truly a miraculous feat, crumbs in contrast to the crumbs and bread crusts found in the kingdom gutters. In the end of the tale, the 2 are returned to their rightful places. And though the boys' lives seem to return to normal for the most part, I can only imagine the drastic change in their outlooks on life. Before the switch, the prince thought nothing of the large meals presented to him 3 times a day. Only after starving in the gutter did he miss the scent of roast chicken wafting through the air. Only after being knocked unconscious off his high and mighty throne was the prince able to see what he'd had. This tale can easily be applied to any aspect of our lives. If we are surrounded with a warm, mellow candlelight, how are we ever to know the true beauty of a flickering flame? That is to say, if we are constantly comforted by good fortune, how are we ever to realize the fortune we indeed have? And in turn, how could we ever be grateful, or even happy? Because without rain, there would be no rainbows. Why is it that we must be knocked down before we realize how tall we were before? This is the kind of thinking. The thinking that what we have is not good enough. The thoughts of, I barely have food for the day. Why on earth would I say thank you? This is the mindset that brings about the eternal contempt in our lives. How can we ever be happy if we don't like what we have? One quote I have grown up hearing after criticizing myself on multiple things has finally started to stick with me. How can you love others if you don't love yourself? And this can even be brought in to say, how can we love anything if we do not love our own life? Is the loss of love really worth not saying thank you? For not giving recognition to what we have? So the question is, how can we stop this? What are the steps to gaining a happy life? To gaining an attitude of gratitude? Thankfully, there are many easy and effective steps. First things first, saying thank you. I know it seems a kindergarten answer perhaps, but really, maybe there was a good reason they taught it to us in kindergarten. I mean, they taught us the ABCs there too, and that has definitely been helpful. When we say thank you, it not only gives us a boost in seeing what we have, it also makes the other party feel appreciated. And I know I like to feel appreciated. Thanks. It's easy peasy. However, it is only the first step. The second is learning to look. To first look at others. I know we all, at least once in our lives, have heard our mothers say something along the lines of, "Think of the kids starving in Africa," when we refuse to eat our broccoli. And yes, we all proceed to roll our eyes and continue pushing the little green trees to the edge of our plate. But think about it. And I mean, really think about it. We may throw away that broccoli at the end of the night. And wouldn't that small portion of food indeed be a blessing in the lives of children in Africa? After all, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So I say, look again. I've heard that hindsight is 20/20. Take the time to look back at the end of the day and clear the fog on our appreciation glasses. Did you think to say thank you when your mom handed you your backpack on the way out to school the other day? Did you smile and give thanks when the lunch lady diligently served you at least something? Along with looking, we should learn. Learn from the possible unappreciated mistakes of the day gone by. We can't live that day over, so make the next one better. And lastly, go a little deeper. The last step is always the hardest, but it is also always the most effective. Set limits. It's easy to be swept up into a world of ingratitude when instant gratification is the mainstream in media, school, work, and life in general. Next time you're bored and decide that you're hungry, don't go and in 5 minutes have a gourmet meal of microwave popcorn. Instead, perhaps work a little harder and make a real meal that maybe even includes broccoli. By giving ourselves these limits and not instantly having whatever we want, we learn to better appreciate the things we work for, or the things we actually need. When we simply take the time to look back and perhaps count our blessings, or even just thank someone for a smile, we learn to be happy with all that we have and truly be happy in life. I'd like to close with one last quote, one in which I truly do believe. If you want what you have, you will always have what you want. Close quote. And in turn, always be happy.